is about sword and pen. Then Bakshi sir, you have wielded sword, now you are wielding pen. Which one do you really find mightier?
You see, it's always that the pen is mightier than the stem. Because the very simple fact that there is so much that has to be changed about us and about our narrative. I have very specifically gone to Indian history, and in Indian history I have taken two components. Ancient history, which defines who we are, and in modern history, how did we become free? Did we become free by the so-called Gandhian concept of ahimsa, non-violence, दे दी हमें आज़ादी बिना खड़क बिना ढाल. कमाल तो ये है कि we still believe this nonsense. कमाल ये है कि we still believe this nonsense. The simple fact is that you are free today, sir, because of a man called Subhash Chandra Bose, who raised a 60,000 strong Indian National Army, out of which 26,000 died. कुछ महिमा वर्णन करना चाहते हैं आप कि किसने आपको आज़ादी दिलाई और किसके नाम आपके नोटों पे, किसके नाम हर दफ्तर, किसकी तस्वीर हर दफ्तर में टंगी. नेहरू गांधी, गांधी नेहरू, नेहरू गांधी नेहरू. ये कोलैबोरेटर्स की फोटोज हैं. और एक अंग्रेजों का डिक्टेट किया हुआ इतिहास अभी तक पढ़ाया जा रहा था, हमारे गले के नीचे डाला जा रहा था. अब समय आ गया है कि आप वाकई में उस नैरेटिव से आज़ाद हो, एंशिएंट इंडिया के और मॉडर्न इंडिया के. यू हैव टू ब्रेक फ्री ऑफ दीज नैरेटिव्स टू बी ट्रूली इंडिपेंडेंट.
Sir, decorum says that I should be addressing you as Jal Bakshi, but I am tempted to address you as Dr. Bakshi. How many books you have written, sir?
38.
38. 38, minded. And 38 books, probably average Indian would read in entire life. Not more than that. Not more than that. So 38 books, and all on different subjects. I see a book here,
Indian philosophy, this is of
Shaman, Roots of Rig Veda. This is the book. Saraswati River we have discussed already. And then
This is poetry.
Dance with Cranes.
Dances with a crane.
Dances with
This
Cranes.
is poetry. Mystic
So,
poetry.
sir, you are a very intense person. How you de-stress yourself, sir?
You see, I am from the infantry, and it just so happens that my first, when we joined service, my batch is the batch of 71. We were into the trains and into the Bangladesh war. So I have been seeing war from that time. That was the first 71 war that we saw. Then I have fought in Punjab. I have commanded a company of Sikh troops against the Sikhs in 1985-87. 84 was Blue Star.
Blue Star.
So can you imagine commanding a Sikh company in the Punjab against the Khalistani movement, against the terrorist movement, and yet I never got greater loyalty than from those Sikh boys. And when I finished that, I went to the MO Directorate. When I finished that, I was sent to Kargil, where I really fought. I had in my unit 6 killed, 21 wounded. From there, when I became a brigade commander, that was my colonel's rank. When I became a brigade commander, I was sent to Kishtwar, the hottest area in the whole of J&K terrorism-wise. I pacified that area totally in 2.5 years, and I was made to stay longer there. Normally, un dino tenure 1.5 years. 2.5 years they kept me there because I had got the area under control. And then when I became a general officer commanding, I was in Romeo Force, Rajouri and Punch, then the hottest area in J&K. So I have had a very, very, very stressful life. But one of the things that I have found which helped me the most was meditation. I don't drink, I don't smoke. And the other thing that I used to do was, most of my operations were at night. So I had to stay awake at night. Because it is, you go to sleep and suddenly middle of the night you are shaken. कि सर वहाँ पे 5 सिविलियन मारे गए और 3 घायल हो गए और बड़ा बवाल हो गया है. तो it takes you some time to get up. So I had to stay awake. So for that, what I used to do was, when I was posted in Kargil, Kishtwar, Rajouri, I used to just go to my office, light the Bukhari, sit down and write.
Hmm.
That's where I wrote most of my books, and if anything happened, I used to keep listening to the radio. I had 3 or 4 radio sets on in my listening. So what helped me was that writing is a catharsis and meditation is a big stress buster.
So while in army, you have broken all the stereotypes with which army officers are,
I don't drink and I don't smoke.
You don't
that was
drink.
the biggest, that was the biggest stereotype I
and you don't play golf.
I don't play golf. And I made
So
it a point.
another stereotype.
And I made it a point not to play golf. And I missed my 3rd star because I did not play.
It takes such
In the lighter way.
It takes such heavy price, not playing golf.
It does. It does. You see, when I was commanding my division, I had done very well. And lots of people told me there is no stopping you after these 3 combat performances, colonel, brigade, divisional level. Nobody can stop you from becoming a corps commander, etc. So this was conveyed to some people and some of them didn't like it. So I had been talking, my deputy had come. He was from a peace station, no names, he was a good boy otherwise. So he came and asked me that, sir, if you don't mind, sir, can I go in the afternoon and play golf? I said, no. He said, sir, I said, I hope you understand that we are in a combat zone. I hope you understand that the military hospital is next to the golf course. And every day 2, 3, 4, 5 of our boys are coming either badly wounded or dead. So does it look nice when they see you with a golf cap and this thing? No, sir, I was only talking of physical fitness. Oh, I said, oh, physical fitness. I said, every evening I play basketball with the boys. So why don't you join me?
Wonderful.
That is number 1. And I said, if you still think that is not enough, I called my Colonel GS. I said, please make out a tour program for the GOC. This post, that post, that post, they're all kutta. So that will keep you busy. What I didn't know was that he was related to some very big people and at the very top. So before I knew it, I was posted out. And when I went to my next posting, the first question I was asked by my army commander was, do you play golf? I said, no, sir. He said, why don't you start?
Not too late to start?
Never too late to start. So I said, sir, the fact is I was posted as MG Adam in Eastern Command. So I said, sir, this is the first time I have been a BM, I have been a, MO Directorate G1 and then a Director MO. So I have always been in G appointment. This is my first administrative appointment. So I'm afraid I will not be able to play golf because I'll have to work in the afternoons. So I was told that I don't like people who work in the afternoon and keep their staffs, all here and miserable. I said, sir, I will work in the afternoon. I never said my staff will work in the afternoon. I have to catch up. I can't let you down. I can't let the command down. Every single grain of atta that goes to the boys in Arunachal and Sikkim and these heights has to go under my signature. So I can't let the command down, sir. I will learn golf later. What about your fitness? I said, sir, I swim, I play basketball. Half an hour of basketball is enough to keep fit. Rather than 4 hours of golf. And I said, sir, besides, sir, even if I have the time, I like to read and write. This was my first interaction with my army commander. So he was very irritated, very annoyed. He says, I know of people who can do both. I said, sir, I don't have that capacity, honestly.
Sir, you will not tell that army commander's name.
No.
And I will not ask, out of decency, I will not ask his name. Even if you tell his name, no one would know about him. But millions of people know about you. So maybe it was lost to army, but it was big gain to Indian society and nation as such. Doing what you are doing today is much more profound and important than what you could have done further with the promotion and after that retired life. But then again, I still want to know, family person you are, kind of stereotype father figure in the family, or you indulge with all family members and have lighter moments also?
To be very honest, I hardly had a family life. Because if you get posted from one field area to the other, most of the time my poor wife and children, they stayed alone in separated family quarters. So I have to be very grateful to my wife who single-handedly brought up the children and kept up. And you see, after retirement, I was once selected for a lifetime achievement award. So they called me, and I was very surprised to see I was in the company of people like T.S.R. Subramaniam, Cabinet Secretary, and Qureshi Saab, the chairman of the Election Commission and all that. So I said, I'm in good company at least. I can bask in their reflected glory. So when my turn came, so they asked me, General Sahab, you spent 37 years in the army. What was your greatest achievement? So I looked him straight in the eye and I said, staying alive. Staying alive was my greatest achievement. And if I'm alive, it is because of the prayers of my wife and my daughter, who prayed continuously. And I can tell you, I have been in artillery shelling, 105s, 120s. I have been mortared, shelled, bombed, everything possible. People on my right died, people on my left died. Somebody has his intestines hanging out. I never got a scratch. I didn't get a scratch. I have come out of situations like this. So I am very grateful to the Lord for whatever opportunity He has given me to serve. My family has been a big source of strength. We were mostly on the phone when the phones would get through, because those days we did not have the mobile. So you had to be dependent on the 2 o'clock night call or the 3 o'clock morning call, because that is when the lines would be free. And that is what we have done. That is how we have lived as a family. I never could spend time with my wife and children. But after retirement, my son, as I told you, he was in the Merchant Navy, and my daughter-in-law, she is the daughter of a corpsman from the Air Force, Wing Commander Hajra. They stay with me. So I have my granddaughter who stays with me. My daughter is married to another captain in the Merchant Navy who is staying in the next colony next door. Every evening they are come, you just saw them come. So I never got to play with my children, but I have all the time with my grandchildren.
Wonderful. Sir, your media outings are very important. Your value addition to all the discussion brings a lot of meaning to whatever is being discussed. But I know that is a kind of projection for common people. Something very, very deep and meaningful is still being planned by you. So what is your unfinished agenda?
You see, the real agenda is that, look, we need the nationalism of both. We still haven't become a nation state. Who brought up caste as divide and rule? And it was a British official who held the first caste-based census in India. And he said, John Steele, he said, as long as there is caste, there will be no India. The pity is, 75 years after independence, we are still, our elections are based on caste, our reservations are based on caste, our economic, where your son will get into a college or not get to a college is based on his caste. They have kept caste alive to divide you. You haven't become a country as yet. We must become a country. Exactly what Dutt Sahab was after, Patriots Forum, what you people are trying to do, we have to make this a country. We have to create the consciousness of a country in our children. That is still an unfinished agenda. There is still so much work to be done.
Sir, army background compels me to address you the way you are being addressed, but I would rather address you as Dr. Major General Bakshi. It has been a real pleasure to discuss with you, and we look forward to further interaction with you. And maybe once I go through the sites, Sanauli, Rakhingarhi, which is not very far,
Right.
and have interaction with other friends who are into geological investigation
Right.
of Saraswati River. I'll come back to you for maybe sum up discussion
Right.
further to what we have discussed
Right.
today. But then we need people like you to be role model for youngsters, and in Captain's Cut our focus is those youngsters who are on the verge of making their studies complete and progress to their professional world, to make them responsible citizens, to make them real patriot, and to have that nationalist feeling in them, sense of responsibility, character building, which leads to nation building. Sir, you have been such, well, you have made impact not only to your generation, and it is very common that we make within our own circle, people realize what is our worth. But then going beyond that, you have not only your generation, you have second generation and probably third generation who look up to you as role model. And to become role model of your own generation is a big thing in sociological dynamics. I find it most challenging is to become leader within your peer group. You have become leader of your peer group and two generations further. So it has been my pleasure and privilege. Captain Manoj Tyagi and Colonel Pal, my son Yuvraj, and through all four of us, I know that younger generation will learn lot many things from you. With your blessing, sir, we take your
Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Captain's Cut. It is believed the successful leaders and eminent personalities have often turned their passion into profession. Their stories to turning their passion to profession has given exemplary motivation to many people, and they have become a source of inspiration for the young generation. We will bring interviews with such eminent personalities who have either turned their passion into profession or infused passion in their profession. Outside the spotlight, there are ordinary people who are committed to their beliefs. Their exemplary life is worth sharing with the world to inspire and motivate millions. In Captain's Cut, we will be introducing such personalities and their unique story with different takes of life. Such personalities who have infused their passion into profession so much that they have become examples. ऐसा माना जाता है कि सक्सेसफुल लीडर्स जो रहे हैं अपने यंगर डेज में उन लोगों के जो पैशन रहे हैं उस पैशन में वो इतने ज़्यादा लीन हो गए कि उन्होंने उस पैशन को आगे चलकर अपने प्रोफेशन में बदलाव कर दिया। उनकी वो स्टोरियाँ, वो कहानियाँ, उनकी वो जद्दोजहद, वो जिद अपने पैशन के दौरान उनको प्रोफेशन की उन ऊंचाइयों पर ले गई। वो ऊंचाइयाँ आज की जनरेशन के लिए, आज के नवयुवकों के लिए एक उदाहरण